Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this information day focused on the call for proposals under the EU Renewable Energy Financing Mechanism program. My name is Beatrice Coda. I work in CINEA, and together with my colleagues of CINEA and the European Commission Directorate General for Energy, I'm very pleased to introduce you today Info Day, which focuses on a call for proposals under the Renewable Energy Financing Mechanism program, putting available 52.4 million euro for projects on onshore wind and solar PV in Estonia and Finland. Before going into the details, I'd like to welcome you again and show you the agenda that we have for today. So we have a program that lasts from now until more or less 12:45 Brussels time. And after a short introduction of the program, the first part of today's day will focus on a presentation on the Renewable Energy Financing Mechanism in the European energy policy context. This presentation will be provided by the European Commission DG Energy. A welcome from the hosting countries, given that this call is, has as eligible projects only those who are in Estonia and in Finland. So we are going to have a welcome message from both Estonia and Finland colleagues. And then we have a block of 2 presentations given by CINEA colleagues, where we will go through the main call requirements and then in detail the evaluation and selection process. We will have a slot of Q&A with participants, a coffee break, and then we start the second part of our program, which is more, let's say, practical, if I may use this word, where we would like to give all potential applicants information on how to draft a quality proposal, a good proposal, how to use the online portal for submitting your proposal, and then finishing with important information of what happens after the call for proposal is closed and after the selection. So for those who are successful, all what concerns what we call the grant agreement, and then the reportment and payments. And again, we will have a dedicated Q&A session with participants, aiming to close at 12:45 Brussels times. Now, how to, let's say, put questions to us? Use Slido, so you have a QR code, and you can join at slido.com at RenewFM. So you can already, if you want, let's say, put in Slido your questions now. So we can already start looking at your questions, but we will focus on the answers at the end of our presentation. So at around the time of 10:50, we will have the first Slido on the first part of the program, and then the second Q&A at the end of the second part, so at around 12:30. So I hope you will find this program interesting and informative. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our colleague in DG Energy, Victor Charbonnier, who will provide the policy context of the Renewable Energy Financing Mechanism. Thank you.
Thank you, Beatrice, and good morning, everyone. So Victor Charbonnier, I work in the units in charge of renewable energy and energy system integration within the DG Energy. And you will hear this morning everything you need to know about the tender and the evaluation process from the colleagues of CINEA and also from the participating member states. I just will present you a bit more background about this mechanism and the policy background. Of course, the whole foundation of this mechanism is the European Green Deal, which was a flagship initiative of the outgoing Commission, and that comes with the objective of achieving climate neutrality by 2050. And that is reflected with an intermediate target for 2030 of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 55%. Of course, most of our emissions in Europe come from the energy sector, therefore the strategic choice of increasing the share of renewable energy, which is reflected in dedicated targets, for instance, in the Renewable Energy Directive, We have had upward revision of this target, in fact, year on year, and especially with the REPOR EU initiative that aimed to reduce the dependency of the European Union from Russian gas imports, and that led to eventually, in 2023, the adoption of a minimum target of 42.5% in our final energy demand. This is almost a doubling of our penetration of renewable energy in the economy compared to today's level. Of course, this is a target that's set for the EU as a whole, that member states are collectively responsible for. And achieving this target will need more cooperation between member states. This will be the most efficient way to achieve it, because we don't have the same resource potential, of course. The Renewable Energy Directive provides a certain number of mechanisms to organize this cooperation between member states. We have joint projects, we have statistical transfers, we have joint support schemes. And another option has been added by the regulation on the governance of the energy union. It is the Renewable Energy Financing Mechanism, with the idea of bringing together countries that pay into a mechanism and countries that accept to host projects that will be financed by the contribution of the first countries. The main difference, I think, with the other options you will find in the Renewable Energy Directive are the fact that here the Commission directly facilitates the common agreement between the member states who express their preferences in terms of the technology they would like to support, the size of the projects, etc., and then come up with a tender design that accommodates these preferences. The benefits for the contributing member states is that they usually will have, constraints regarding the local geography, but a lack of space to develop the projects, or also making a choice to finance projects in another country where the technology they want to develop would be more cost efficient. It is also a possibility for them to chip in this mechanism to fill a gap in their contribution towards the union trajectory towards the RES targets of 42.5%. And it comes also with the advantage of being a more long-term tool, because the statistical benefits generated by the projects would usually be split between the contributing host member state on an 80-20% basis over a period of 15 years. If you compare that with the statistical transfer option, usually those are one-off and pertaining to 1 year. The advantages for the host countries on the other side is that they have investment in local renewable energy projects, having less burden into the national public funds. And of course, the indirect benefits being having job creation, lower greenhouse gas emission, improved air quality, modernization of their power system, and so on and so forth. Now, the benefits are also for the project developers. Obviously, the mechanisms will allocate either an investment support or an operating support. In this tender, it is an investment support. You can actually complement this support with national support schemes, and the grants you will receive if you are selected will not be subject to state aid notification. So this is quite an important feature. A last word on my side about the successful experience we had in 2023. This time it was a contribution from Luxembourg, and the host country was Finland. It was launched in April 2023. The call closed in September of that same year. And it was a budget of 40 million euro in total, but eventually led to the signature of agreements by 27.5 million euros, financing a capacity of 233 megawatts peak. But we had actually an oversubscription on the call, which was, I think, 516 megawatts. Which showed a really keen interest from the developers, and for us that was a really positive signal. If I'm not mistaken, the first project will be coming out of the ground next year. It's a 20 megawatts solar power project in Lucanaro. Apologies for already the bad pronunciation probably. That's coming into reality. This tender now that we're launching, we have launched on the 30th of July, same team plus Estonia joining also as host country. The budget is increased to 52.5 million euros. So showing a scale up of the mechanism, and hopefully this will translate into vivid interest from the developers. I leave the presentation, the introduction here, and pass back the floor to you, Beatrice, and the member states.
So thank you, Victor, for the introduction on the policy context of the Renewable Energy Financing Mechanism from the Commission perspective. And I think now we like also to hear the perspective of the hosting member states. And I would like to start with, first of all, with Estonia. So I'd like to welcome Karlis Goldstein from the Ministry of Climate. Hello, Karlis, to say a few words. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and good morning to everyone. I hope that I'm both audible and visible. Yes, very good for the nod. So we're really excited about this instrument because we see great potential in it. Why? Because obviously member states are not in the same position in terms of available resources from renewable energy and demand growth, which is of course stellar in all the member states. Because we need to decarbonize transport, heating and cooling, industry, and so on and so forth. So in Estonia, we have done pretty well previously in terms of renewable energy rollouts. Currently, out of the entire energy mix, we are one of the top European countries, and more to come, obviously, because by 2030, we want to really turn around the electricity sector. This is the near-time priority. You might know that we come from solid fuel burning like states back in their smoggy histories, but wind and solar have really taken over. In the past 2 to 3 years, we have risen to the 6th place in the EU in solar PV penetration. And in terms of winds, by the end of this decade, we hope to generate as much renewable electricity as we consume every year. And then to keep on adding renewable energy capacities in terms of wind, so that no wind-free spots would remain basically in our energy mix, and we bridge it then obviously with hydrogen and storage. But now coming back to this round, we see that the fact that we have about 3 times as much renewable electricity projects in various maturity stages than we currently consume in Estonia electricity is a good sign. This means, first of all, that we want to build on collaboration projects with the European community to realize that potential. And secondly, that over time, as we electrify end uses, as I mentioned in the beginning, we have enough capacity and energy potential to decarbonize. So with this, I want to thank the European Commission and CINEA for having set up this instrument. We hope that it will be, for Estonia, a good first practical experience, and that in the future we can deploy it even more in various infrastructure projects for generation and transmission, and why not even offshore wind. So thank you kindly having passed over the floor to me, and now I give it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Karlis, for your words, for your information, and it's great that Estonia has joined the Renewable Energy Financing Mechanism. So we, of course, also look forward to have, let's say, a great collaboration on this project with Estonia. And now I would like to give the floor to Finland, also to give a few introductory words. and in particular to Sala Palander from the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Employment. I hope
yes, hello,
you are there.
everyone.
Yes, hello.
And you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, unfortunately, my laptop decided to censor me today, so you cannot see me, but hopefully you can hear me. Yeah, good morning, everyone, and greetings from Helsinki, and also welcome from my side. Yeah, my name is Salla Palander, and I work for the Ministry of Economic Affairs, specifically at the Energy Department and Renewables team. And yeah, we are the sort of coordinating side or party here on the Finland side. But of course, CINEA is doing most of the work, and I would already like to thank you for everything you have done so far and for organizing this event today. So I was thinking to start with a few words about solar power and in Finland right now. So on the left side, you can see the energy production in 2023 in Finland. And as you can see, solar power is still quite small in the mix, but then what you cannot see is the huge growth that is happening in the field right now as we speak. And that is reflected in the map on the right side, where are all the solar projects in Finland right now being developed in different phases. So I would definitely say that the interest is there for solar now, and the trend is quite clear. Which is a good thing, especially because wind power in Finland has been growing recent years. And as it turns out, solar is actually great at balancing that wind power, because usually when it winds, it doesn't, or when it doesn't wind, the sun is shining. So then solar power is a great addition to the energy mix. And then I had a second slide, which actually we already talked about. So it was about Finland participating in this financing mechanism already last year, when it was the first time it was organized. And we are, of course, happy to see Estonia, our close neighbor, today here as well. And like it was said, 7 solar projects signed the funding agreement with a total amount of aid, 27.5 million euros. So that is great. And yeah, I guess thank you once again, CINEA. I am looking forward to all the questions the companies will have. Hopefully CINEA will be able to answer most of them. Yeah, and let's have a informative day today. So thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you, Salla. Very clear. And yes, of course, we hope to be able to reply to most of the questions of the call, and we hope also that it will be a very informative day for all the potential applicants. Now, I think after this kind of policy introduction round, we go now deep into the call elements. So I'm delighted to present to you the main call requirements for the call of Renewable Energy Financing Mechanism 2024. Before I go into that, for those of you who don't know who CINEA is, I'd like really to present the agency. So CINEA is an agency, European Climate Infrastructure and Environment Executive Agency, which has been established as executive agency on 2021 with the launch of the current multi-financial framework. And it's the executive agency that, in fact, has received a delegation from the European Commission to manage a number of European Union-funded programs which have a specific, let's say, focus on the European Green Deal. So here in this slide, you can see all the programs which are managed and implemented by CINEA. So in practice, we implement the programs by running call for proposals, making selection procedures for the calls, and also preparing the grant agreement with the selected applicants and monitoring the projects. This is really, let's say, the main core in a nutshell. And here you see what are the main programs that CINEA is managing. And you see that among them is the Renewable Energy Financing Mechanism, together with a part of Horizon Europe, Innovation Fund, the LIFE program, the Connecting Europe facility in transport and energy, one part of the Just Transition Mechanism, the Public Sector Loan Facility pillar, and last but not least, the European Maritime, Fisheries and Aquaculture Fund. So we manage until 2027 a budget overall of more than 55 billion euro, and we are more than 500 staff. So here we focus on the Renewable Energy Financing Mechanism, which is not part of the multi-financial framework because it's supported by contributing member states. But still, this call, the call of Renew FM in 2024, puts available 52.4 million euro for solar PV projects and wind onshore projects. Luxembourg is the contributing member state, and Estonia and Finland are the hosting member states, as per, let's say, what also Victor provided as a context. This is a call, and Victor already mentioned, for investment support, so to support investments and not operation of renewable energy projects. And it is what we call a multi-technology award procedure, which means that puts in competition two types of categories of projects in this case. So one category is eligible projects in Estonia for onshore wind, and the second one is solar PV ground-mounted in Finland. The call is done via a competitive bidding process to achieve the most effective RES deployment, and it is implemented via what we call, let's say, the pay-as-bid mechanism. So the successful applicants will receive a lump sum contribution according to their bid. So as I mentioned earlier, the call may compete the two types of eligible projects, and we will, let's say, focus on the detail later on, but the bid will be done making compete the two technologies in euro per megawatt peak, and then this bid will be then translated into megawatt hour for the purpose of the ranking, based on an estimation of full load hours for solar PV and onshore wind. And there is, of course, also a ceiling price, which is 300,000 euro per megawatt. So more on the eligibility of projects. So for projects in Finland, as I mentioned, the technology is ground-mounted solar photovoltaic. There is a range of minimum and maximum capacity size between 10 and 80 megawatt peak. There is a fixed expected full load hours of 1,000 per year. Knowing that also there is a maximum total capacity of the call, which is 400 megawatt. There is an additional requirement for which at project level, a removal of forest and agricultural land is restricted to maximum 20% of the project area. And it's also expected that the entry into operation for projects in Finland is by the 4th of March, 2027. So 2 years after the closure of the call. Now, there are similar requirements for eligibility of projects in Estonia. So in Estonia, we said the technology is onshore wind. Also here, there is a range of a minimum, between a minimum and a maximum capacity between 10 and 71.5 megawatt peak. Also in this case, there is a fixed expected full load hours of 2,800 hours per year. The maximum capacity of the call for projects in Estonia is 71.5 megawatt. And here, the entry into operation is 3 years after the closure of the call, so the 4th of March 2028. So in order, and this will be explained in the following presentations, in order to meet the operation deadline, the applicants will also need to provide specific proof, for example, proof of applications. Now, another general information concerns the timeline of the call. So the call was open on 30th of July, so it's currently open and will be closing only on the 4th of March 2025. So we hope that this will give enough time also for applicants to prepare the application and to comply, for example, with this let's say, documents such as proof of permit or application for permit that will be described. So there is sufficient time for applicants to have these documents ready. By March, at the closure of the call, we will go through the evaluation, and my colleague will explain in detail the award criteria. In practice, as I mentioned, there is only one award criterion, which is the price per megawatt, that determines the ranking of the applications of eligible and admissible proposals. But we also look at relevance and quality as a pass-fail criterion in order to verify that proposals are of good quality and that they are, for example, meeting the entry into operation requirements that I just mentioned. So the ranking, we expect this process to finish around May, June, with the ranking according to the lowest price offer, as I mentioned, until, so we'll rank all the admissible eligible proposal until the budget of 52.4 million euro is used. Then the applicants, the successful ones and those who have failed, so all applicants will be given, let's say, will be provided with the results of the evaluation by CINEA. And in the same time, we will start what we call the grant agreement preparation, so the contract basically between the beneficiary and CINEA, with the aim to conclude at the very, very latest by December 2024. This is really, let's say, the ultimate deadline. We really hope to be able to speed up this as much as possible. And last but not least, another general information that again will be repeated later on today and will be explained in detail. But already, let's say, for you to have clear information now, when the successful applicants, so the beneficiaries, they have to report to CINEA. They have to report until, let's say, they are commissioned. So we look at the first phase of the project, basically, let's say, the construction, the commission, so until they enter into operation. And then we look at reporting at year, let's say, N+2 and N+4. So if N is the year when they have entered into operation. So these specific reporting periods, they also correspond to the financial, let's say, the breakdown. So the reimbursement, the disbursement of the lump sum that I mentioned before. So the first disbursement of the lump sum will happen at commissioning, and we aim to pay 60% of the lump sum, which will be the grant amount. At year N+2, we aim to pay 20% of that maximum grant amount. At an year N+4, we aim to pay the remaining 20%. However, the reporting and the monitoring, therefore, of CINEA does not close at N+4, because overall, after the commissioning, the reporting, and we will explain, it's an easy reporting, so it's a proof of energy generation, must be done for 15 years. And this is very important because despite being, let's say, an instrument for investment support, it is also important for contributing and host member states to know the energy generation, which is important for the generation also of renewable energy statistics. So we want projects that are operational and that will be operating for a certain number of years. So this is, let's say, what also CINEA will be in charge. So the proof of energy delivery will be very important to ensure this reporting. With this, I want to close this general presentation of the call requirements, and I give the floor now to my colleague Gianluca that will dig into the evaluation and selection process. Yeah.
Thank you, Beatrice, and good morning on my side. So I'm Gianluca Ferreri, Program Coordination Manager at CINEA. So I will indeed go through each steps of the evaluation and the selection. One point important to keep in mind is that in the call page you have always available a series of question and answers very specific to the call in question. So don't hesitate to go through also them, because they might go even more specific on some elements. And you'll find also a link to program FAQ. So if you want to understand a bit better, even go a little bit in the details on the program level. So let's see how does it work in the various steps, the evaluation selection process. So first of all, there is a check on the eligibility and the admissibility, and I'll go through point by point. Then there is the proper evaluation, so looking at the award criteria that Beatrice mentioned, and the operational financial capacity check. I'll come to that in a moment. And then there is the actual ranking of proposals. So let's see every single step to clarify how does it work. So first of all, we look at the eligibility of the applicants. There it's pretty open, in the sense that you must be a legal entity, so either private or public body, or also any form in between, so to say, and then established in one of the eligible country, and basically it's the whole Europe, and also eventually, if applicable, also a country from organization coming from non-EU countries. But what is important, of course, is that the organization, the company, must be able to operate in the country that is for which is bidding the project. So either in Finland or in Estonia. So normally it's an organization that has a headquarter or even a full body there established in one of the two countries. But other than that, there are no specific exclusion. You see on the slide there are restrictive measures of EU restrictive measure for specific countries or for specific companies. So, and you can see the link there to the slide to the sanction map if you are interested to dig a bit further. Hopefully you're not in that list. And at project level, you have conditions that are applicable for both projects in Estonia and Finland, so both technology, which is basically the financial aspect. So the ceiling price is maximum 300,000 euro per megawatt P installed. That applies to any project in the call. There is a fixed full load hour that is tailored to the technology and the country, and we'll come to back in a moment. And in order to be eligible, therefore, your offer must stay within those elements, and then operate for 15 years, as Beatrice was saying. So you have basically 2 years to commission your project if you apply for a solar project in Finland, or you have 3 years if your project is an onshore. And then after, once it is commissioned, you need to demonstrate you operate for at least 15 years. Obviously, we know that the duration or lifetime of those projects are higher than that. Normally, it's 20, 25, and more. years, but for the purpose of this grant and the reporting requirement is 15 years that you will have to report on energy generation. So, yeah, the eligible project in Finland, to recap, it was already said, but it's really key parameters there. If you are not within those parameters, you will be considered ineligible. In that case, you are not even further assessed. So the technology is a solar PV. You may have question on the if there are the technical specification really on which, for example, which type of panel, bifacial or more typical traditional panels. There's no restriction, so it's really up to the project to choose the specific technology, but it's really about solar PV ground mounted. So the minimum and the maximum size is also there. It's very important. We've seen that there's already some questions about the size, so we'll come back during the Q&A session. But the whole project, the whole project must be at least 10 megawatt P and not go over 80 megawatt P. The expected full load hours, so it's fixed at coal level, so there's no, so to say, speculation around, and it's not left to applicant. It is estimated that it is feasible for project in solar PV in Finland to reach at least 1,000 hours per year. And it's an average. We'll come back to maybe later as well, but it's not, you may have underperforming years and overperforming years. So, but it's important that within the 15 years, you globally reach an average of 1,000. And the maximum coal capacity for Finland is 400 megawatt. And there, what does it mean is that we cannot approve project going over that amount, at least for the Finnish territory. There are already in Slido quite a lot of questions about the specific element there on renewable forests and agriculture. So I will be brief, and then we'll go question by question. So probably we will really disentangle all elements, hopefully. But just to say that it's a cumulative condition. So it's 20% total at project level, either being forest removal or agricultural land in use. It's not in the slide for simplification, but it's important. It's agricultural land in use and not all agricultural land. So we'll come back, what does it mean, agricultural land in use, during the Q&A. And then enter into operation. So as we already said, 2 years within 2 years from the deadline of the call, so 4th of March 2027. For Estonia, we have similar parameter, but of course specific to the technology as well. So onshore wind as well. There can be there's no restriction on the technical specification on how should be the wind turbine or the type of technology around the blade or anything like that. So it's really the choice of the project, but it has to be onshore wind. And then there is a minimum and maximum capacity. There, the maximum capacity per project coincide with the total capacity available for the Estonian territory, so 71.5 megawatt. And there, of course, the full load hours is higher because of the technology and the country. And also there, it's important to understand that it's fixed at core level. So later on, I'll show the budget calculator. You need to indicate one of those two figures, either 2,800 if it is an onshore wind project, or 1,000 if it is a solar PV project. That's it. You may expect more in your calculation. You may even indicate it in your business plan, for example, in the description of the project. But what is important is that for the budget calculator, you need to indicate what is fixed at program at call level. Coming back to the last point, it's similar to the solar PV, but in the case of onshore, the entry into operation, you have basically 1 year more, so within 3 years from the call closure. for obvious reason, it takes more time. But you don't have much more time, so we are really looking to see project pretty mature or very mature, so that that you are really able to deliver and commission within that fixed deadline. So I talked about already anticipated a bit on the budget calculator. It's a very simple Excel that is part of the template that are mandatory to be submitted. So this, you should not miss it, because otherwise it's really putting into question the eligibility of the project. For the rest, in terms of how to fill it in, it's we walk through now, but it's again very simple. So basically, you need to indicate three values: the price that you offer per megawatt, and remember the ceiling price. So it's 300,000 euro per megawatt. If you indicate 310, for example, you are out and you will be ineligible. So better really be prudent with that. So below 300,000, anything below or equal is eligible. Then, of course, it depends on your business case and on your offer. Of course, the lower you go, the higher you may have the chance to be in the higher in the ranking. It works like a bidding price, you know very well probably the mechanism if you already participated to national auctions, for example. So there you indicate just the price per megawatt, so per megawatt, not the total price. And then in the second column, so you indicate the total megawatt foreseen to be installed. So the size of the project, the megawatt P of your project, so 10, 20, 25, whatever, of the total project. And then on the last white box, if you see, so the second or the followed hours column there to the right, you have to indicate either 100,000 for the solar PV or the 2,800 for the onshore wind project. So that one are fixed, as we said. So what happens then? It will calculate the total maximum lump sum, and then the transposed megawatt cost per megawatt hour. So I'll come back to that later when I explain the ranking. So the admissibility, it's about rather the completeness, so to say, of the proposal and whether it has been submitted using the right platform within the deadline. So you can see it's fairly standard requirements. So you have to use the mandatory template. You have to use them all. So it must be complete. It must be drafted in one of the official language. We strongly encourage to use, at least for the proposal, English. It's much easier for the evaluators, but you can use one of the official language, and then use the mandatory template where there are mandatory template. In some cases, there are no mandatory template, but it's mandatory to submit that given item. We'll come back to that in a moment. So here it goes. So this is the list. You'll find it, all the list in the call text. So this lump sum calculator is this Excel that I just presented. Then the latest activity report of your organization. Here sometimes there is confusion what it is about. So it's the activity report of your company, being, for example, the audited activity report and accounts or anything similar. I mean, there's no specific template. Each organization has its own. You just submit the latest approved. Sometimes this might not be the latest of the year. You submit in March 2020 by March 2025. So you may not have the activity report of 2024 approved already. Depends on your procedure. In that case, you simply submit the latest approved, which might be 2023, for example. Then list of previous project. Also here, sometimes applicants have some misunderstanding. There is a specific section in the application form. It's a simple table where basically we asked you to list the main latest project in general on renewable and for the technology you are applying, so either solar or wind. So don't indicate the whole history of the company, but at least the most important, so we understand the company's experience with the technology and with the delivery, those type of projects. Then there is a Gantt chart. Also here there's a program template. Please use that one, and it's a normal, typical Gantt chart where you will define your activities and the timeline. And co-financing declaration, so it might be your own declaration where you basically state as a company that you are going to co-finance your project, or it might be that you have already an agreement from other institution like a bank. You can also attach that one. Still on the admissibility, and to close on that, the list of items required. There is the business plan and a financial spreadsheet. Obviously, there's no specific template. It's a typical business plan that we ask for. So we will look at it also later in the details. But we are trying to understand from the business plan the main financial parameters of your project. And so it's always good to have both, let's say, a PDF or a Word document or a narrative document which explains the main assumption, the main explanation, and then a financial spreadsheet that shows really what were your assumption, your calculation behind on the various elements of the business plan. And then we ask you to attach other annexes. So the evidence of the permitting request, at least. Of course, if you already have the permits, it's great because it means that you are very mature, or at least from this side, it's very reassuring. But at least if you don't have it, at least just upload the official request to the competent authority. So we're talking about construction, permitting, grid connection, and any other permitting you may need, or showing the proof, for example, of land ownership from the area, and those related aspects. And then for the case of Finland, we have, so for solar projects, we have the proof regarding the respect of 20% limit to deforestation and agricultural land in use. You can, for example, include embed directly in the application the map of the area, or you may have additional documents that you want to send via the other annexes, showing, for example, cadastral maps or any other document that might be in that direction. You can, of course, attach any other annexes if you deem it relevant and important to explain your project, and feel free to use the other annexes space. There you see a screenshot from the funding and tender portal. Gloria will show it later on more in detail, but that's how it looks like. So wherever you see red asterisk next to the item means that it's a mandatory one. And next to what I quoted, there is also a GIS area that also Gloria will show, where we really encourage you to use so that you can indicate the area foreseen for your project to be where it should be built. So how does it work now, the evaluation? So if your project has been considered admissible and eligible, we go into the concrete evaluation of the content, so to say. So first of all, there is an aspect of analysis of the operational capacity of the applicant, so of the company, because you have some section in the application form where we ask you to provide information about what are the resources behind it, so financial resources, but also human resources. So what is the team that will be in charge of the project, the qualifications, so general profiles, and then together with the latest activity report that I was quoting before and the list of previous projects, the evaluators will be able to understand whether the proposal is brought by a solid applicant and solid team behind. On the financial capacity, this is something maybe self-explaining. So, because we are trying to understand whether you have stable and sufficient resources on financial aspect, because at the beginning you will have, at least at the beginning, you will have to bear the full cost until the project is commissioned, and there you will have a first payment. So we need to see whether you have sufficient capacity to carry out the project. For the financial capacity check, we go into more details if you are approved, and the Commission, European Commission, will ask you eventually for more information on your accounts. But the more you can clarify as well at the application phase via, for example, the business plan, the better it is. So the award criteria are very simple. If you're familiar with other EU grants, much simpler there. You basically have two pass mark criteria that are about the relevance and the quality, and then a last criteria, which is the one that is setting the ranking, basically. So the relevance, it's whether the project contributes to the call objectives. So in the call text, there are some objectives about decarbonization, for example, about the wider context of the policy targets of the EU. If you are delivering a renewable energy project or are proposing to deliver a renewable energy project, there shouldn't be a problem for that, but we encourage you to explain. There is a specific section in the application form. And then there is an aspect on the qualities. That's the second award criteria, and this is the global analysis of the proposal and what I was explaining before, and on the operational and financial point of view. So we are looking to see there in the evaluation from a technical point of view whether your proposal is very clear. So you have indicated, for example, where the project will be located, what is the technology, what are the assumptions behind in terms of expected energy delivery, and why you expect that energy delivery was, what are the parameters there. So anything that can clarify really the technical functions of the aspect of your proposal. Who will build it, is going to be done in-house, is going to be via an EPC contract or external contract. So all these elements are very important to understand really how the project will take shape, and that form the qualities. So there is a pass mark there, so there's a minimum quality that you should reach, and if you reach it, then we look at the price. So the price, as I said, it's a price per megawatt when you indicate it in the calculator, but you will be ranked according to the transposed price per megawatt hour. So how does it work? In the calculator there you have back the screenshot of the Excel. You indicate your price per megawatt and the total megawatt P that you want to install. And then you indicate the full load hours. This three parameter will generate the transposed cost per megawatt hour. First of all, by determining what is going to be the total megawatt hour produced within during the 15 years of operation, and therefore it will calculate the transposed grant support per megawatt hour. The ranking is done on that basis, that this allows to compare different technologies, as it is the case of this call. Now the figures there is to show that there will be a mix of project to the left side, a mix of project that will be submitted, so solar PV and onshore project, but the ranking is done in one single batch. So the projects are not separated by technology, are simply ranked based on the transposed price per megawatt hour. So there might be the cheapest project is just an example. You may have first a solar PV project, second an onshore wind, third a solar PV. Again, just an example, but to explain that you will be in the same batch and you will be ranked on that basis. So the ranking is done on that basis, and is done until the completion of the total budget of the coal, or until we have reached the maximum capacity of the countries. So what happened if there is okay? It's maybe theoretical, but it might happen if two projects are have the same transposed cost per megawatt hour. So there are indicated in the call text again there very so default or second and third option. So in case of same price, we look at the commissioning date. So proposals that are showing that they will deliver first, they are ranked first in the case of equal price only. The rationale is being that behind the financing mechanism there is hosting countries and contributing countries, and one of the interest in setting up the mechanism is to get renewable energy statistics. So the sooner this will come into reality, the better it is. And also at global level, at EU level, we will reach, or we will help reaching the targets sooner. So that's the first case in case there is the same price. Now, in the event that two proposals have the same price and the same commissioning date, we look at the size. So the total installed capacity, so the biggest proposals in terms of megawatt hour are megawatt peak, sorry, are ranked first. So this is fairly straightforward possibility. So again, to wrap it up a little bit, in case you are lost in the detail, so how they are ranked, how you will be ranked in case the project is eligible, admissible, and of sufficient quality and relevance, you will be ranked on the basis of the transposed megawatt hour, so from lowest to the highest price. And this you'll see it directly in the budget calculator, so you can use it right away to see, to make simulations. And there is one ranking list, and we don't look at the technology or the member state, so it's one batch, and you will be ranked simply as simple as that. And then, when it comes to the total budget, what do you basically get? It's also quite simple and you'll see it in the budget calculator. Simply indicate your price per megawatt peak installed, and the installed capacity, and this will determine the total budget of the project in the financing mechanism. So it means that this is the budget that you will get in case the project is approved, in case you will demonstrate and you will reach the commissioning date and deliver during over 15 years at least. That's the total budget that you can get, and it's a total, and it's a lump sum. So it's a fixed sum, not based on real cost. You simply demonstrate the delivery of your project and the delivery of the energy over the 15 years, and you will get this, this amount. So I hope that was clear enough, but we have plenty of time now for the Q&A in Slido, and I think there are already quite a lot of questions there. Okay, first question on the, let's say one by one, about the full load hours. So are the fixed expected full load hours calculated by dividing expected yearly production by plant installation capacity? So yeah, that's the main principle indeed. So to calculate whether you can reach the fixed full load hour of the coal, you need to know the expected yearly production and the plant installation capacity. So once you get at the reporting stage, you will have to demonstrate that you have reached that expected fixed full load hour, and to do it, you simply report for the amount of energy delivered, so in terms of megawatt hour. So if the wind park planning procedure is currently at the development phase, for example, the construction permit is due in Q4 2025, is the project still viable for the Renew FM financing? Thank you. Okay, so here you have, so to notion it is, to let's make it short, because at the application phase you have to demonstrate that you have requested the construction permit. So in this specific case you don't have yet, or you don't foresee to have already the construction permit by the moment of the application in Q1. You expect the construction permit in Q4 2025. So in terms of eligibility, it is fine. Now it enters into consideration of evaluation, so in maturity. So in that case, we'll have to see if all the other parameters shows clearly that you will deliver the project by the Commission in time, but for the construction permit during Q4 2025, per se, it is possible. Okay, next question is about reaching the targets of fixed expected full load hours conditions. So if there is a sanction for a situation where the fixed expected full load hours condition is not met during the operation period, so you will see in the call text there is a section about the reporting requirement. And there you will see there is already indicated a certain level of tolerance, in the sense that for solar PV project, you will need to demonstrate to having at least, so the target is 1,000, but if you reach less, you should reach at least 850 full load hours, and for wind is 2,380. What does it mean? It means that we expect the normal target, so 1,000 or 2,800. But if it is justified by the condition, a specific condition that might be linked to the project, might be to the market, might be linked to the weather, specific condition that were unexpected, anything that is that explain clearly why you haven't reached the target, and you stay still at least within 850 or 2,380, depending on the technology, then there is a tolerance there. Below that figure, then it means that we will have to proportionally decrease the grant. Now, I'm saying that, but remember that what I said before, we are talking about over the 15 years. So you might have specific years where you don't manage to reach, and it's even going below these figures. And if it is clearly justified, that doesn't lead to a grant reduction. It's as long as in the 15 years you manage to reach the average in total. So there is also an extra flexibility over time, because of course we know that there can be fluctuation from good harvesting years to worse one. Okay. So now I think we have a series of questions on forest and agricultural land definition. There, I'll give a first element of answer, but of course, if colleagues from Finland then want to step in, just let us know. So first of all, how the forests are defined. First of all, the question is how the forest and agricultural land defined are defined and are defined in production. I guess there are two elements there in the question. One, first clarification. So when we talk about forest, there's no mention in production or the production element, so to say, it's that you find in the call text. It refers to the agricultural land. Okay, so any forest enters into the calculation, whereas for agriculture, we are talking about, indeed, agriculture in production. So now for forest, there is already a question and answer published there, so we based ourselves on the following definition. So the forest is a land with tree crown cover or equivalent stocking level of more than 10% and an area of more than 0.5 hectare. So the tree should be able to reach the minimum height of 5 meters at maturity inside. So it's quite specific. So you have to see in that if your case enter into this counting. In the case of agricultural land, we mean in production, so in use. We mean the total area taken up by arable land, permanent grassland, and permanent crops and kitchen garden farmed, regardless of the type of tenure. So we consider, when it comes to the in-use element, so we consider agricultural land not in use, land that was not used, used for agricultural purpose since the 1st of January 2024. So in the last year, or in the current year, so since the beginning of this calendar year, and which is not in the crop rotation system. So this is important because you may have questioned whether fallow land, where does it enter? So the fallow land or area that is part of the crop rotation system, so it's not used eventually in 2024, but it's considered agricultural land in production. Another element there to define this, the various situations that we look at the current, the actual use, not of what it is indicated in the master plan. But maybe there are more questions on that to follow. So maybe, yeah, a bit linked to that area of land which have already been cut down and left like that is, if it is no obligation of restoration in such area considered as forest. So there, again, and we will publish a question and answer to cover hopefully all at least the main cases, and we may see on case by case. But we look at, so not the master plan, so that's the first element. Let's see what is the actual situation. And if at the moment it's not considered a forest land and it's not used as such, we don't consider it as a forest. So we really look at the actual situation. So and it applies also the contrary. So in the case an area where there is a forest, but the master plan has decided it's going to be a solar PV area, we consider that at least if it is a forest during in 2024 or at the application, we consider it as a forest area. Hope that was clear. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if Finnish colleagues want to step in regarding the role of local authority. Sala, is you with us?
Yes, I'm still here. Definition, I'm not sure what this is referring to, in which process, defining what is a forest and
so I think that
land?
On our side, I mean, at code level, we have a series of definition, and regarding agricultural area, we will also, after the Q&A, this info day, we will publish a specific Q&A on that. I guess the question is whether the applicant can get in touch with local authority with regards to how to define the areas, but of course staying in the boundary of the definition of the specific code, because the local authority may have a definition or may have decided for a specific area to be agriculture or industrial or anything else, but we applicant need to look at the definition at code level. I guess that's the best. First to look at the definition in the code and the Q&A. And then they might have to liaise anyhow for the processing with the local authority.
Yes, and I guess if there is some questions left after when the Q&A is published, you can ask me, and then I will do my best to forward the question or answer it myself.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, until let us know if that's all clear. Then now a question more on the project itself. So does the EPC contract have to be ready, and what kind of description is enough? So it doesn't have to be ready at the moment of the application. Obviously, if you have it, that shows that you are mature, and it is a good sign to show that you will stay within the deadline of the commissioning, but very often, or often is not the case. So it's not an obligation. The type of description, I mean, it depends what you have. I mean, the more you have, the better it is. So if you have already the concept, you indicate the concept. If you already have that you, I don't know, you have started your procurement or your notice to select the contract, you have already received offers. So anything you have at the moment of the submission, it's good for the evaluator to understand really what is the latest state of play. So there's no prescription of type of content that we need to see. The more you have, the better, because it shows really the maturity of the project. Okay, so what if the project is stalled before the construction phase, and can the support be granted? There, we have the concept of, we'll see it also later in terms of roles of beneficiary. So the contracting authority, which will be CINEA, will have a contract with the beneficiary that will implement the project. So imagine that you apply with your company A applies and propose the project, and the project is selected. But then later on, there is a change in the organization, or the organization decides that to reshape the portfolio of project, or indeed, like in this case, to sell the project to another company. In that case, that means if the grant agreement has been signed, it means a amendment process. It changes the beneficiary, so the new owner of the project will enter into the grant agreement. The old owner will exit, and we will pay the owner that will actually commission the project. So the one that will build the project and show that the project will be delivering the energy. So it's the new owner that will get the grant as per a requirement.
There is a risk that we might not.
So yeah,
there has to be a new evaluation.
yeah. In the case of an amendment, it's not given for granted. I mean, the amendment implies a new evaluation of the project. So, for example, if in this case you sell the project to a new owner, the new owner will have to be assessed in its operational capacity, financial capacity, etc., etc. So, if the process is conclusive in the positive sense, so we conclude that the new owner can deliver the project, is eligible, can deliver the project, has the sufficient capacity, both operational and financial, we will eventually sign the amendment, and the new grant agreement will enter into force with the new owner as new beneficiary. So obviously that implies a certain level of uncertainty for later on. So questions for the process. How long does it take to CINEA to answer specific questions sent regarding this call? So we receive it as it goes. So it might take a couple of days or a few days for simpler question. For more complex, where we need to verify really some details, or coordinate with hosting countries, for example, it might take a bit more time. But normally, the whole process doesn't last more than 2 weeks. So that's the maximum normally that it takes for a specific question to be replied. So when you post a question on the, if you don't find the answer in the call text and in the list of Q&A, of course you are welcome to write us to the functional mailbox. We'll also give the reference later on. But the way it works is that if we receive a question that is of relevance, we will reply to the question, and if that's not already covered by the Q&A, we will also publish a new question and answer, so that also other applicants are can reply to that. There's one limit, is that we cannot answer to very, very specific question on the project. For example, how to how to draft that given section in that given part of the application form, because that would represent an advantage to a specific applicant. So here there's a notion of how to reach the 10 megawatt P, so the total, the minimum size of the project. So can it be 6 projects of 2 megawatt P there? So reaching, for example, in this case, 12 megawatt P. Can this type of project apply? On that we have also a question and answer. So there are, it has to be considered as a single project, and to be considered a single project, basically, but I advise to look really at the detailed Q&A, but it means that the project should have one connection point to the grid. So it has to be considered one project that together connects via one entry point to the grid, one single point. So one connection point to the grid, and then in that case, it can be that you have a project located in several areas, of course not too far apart because they need to be connected one another, but showing one single connection point to the national grid. In that case, you can apply. Okay, so
yeah, I mean, the Commission says this price based on several aspects, and the main point is based on the information we receive from the member states, notably as regard the realized cost of electricity in each country and for the technologies that would be supported by the call. We also take into consideration the result of past calls. I mentioned the 2023 tender, and here in that case, the selling price was actually lower. It was 180K. So yeah, this one is a bit higher because it's a multi-technological call, as was mentioned by the CINEA colleagues, so it also allows space for competition with onshore wind. Maybe if Gianluca, you want to complement.
No, indeed. I mean, the business plan of project, of course, may be very different. So there might be some projects that have higher costs, and that might be a tough threshold, but others will certainly be able to apply. And indeed, the previous call was much lower, the threshold, and we had also lower than, or even significantly lower than the threshold for application. So we consider that as realistic. So what if the actual installed megawatt peak capacity is higher than the capacity for which the grant was applied? This can help to achieve the full load hour requirement as well. So in case at the end you install more megawatt P capacity than what has been proposed in the proposal, one important element might be obvious, but the grant will not increase. So that's one important element. But of course, in that case, you will deliver more energy. So indeed, it can be a factor that helps you to reach the target. So the 300,000 euro per megawatt P is the requested support, not the building price of the project. Yes, indeed. So is the maximum amount you can demand for megawatt P installed, and obviously the building price of the project might be higher. Normally it is, because the auction logic covers a part of those costs, knowing that in any case every project will sell the electricity. So in the business plan of the project, that enters into account. So this is indeed the requested support, what you ask for money on your side. But in the business plan, we encourage you to be as transparent as possible to assess what is the actual building price of the project, to understand your business case. So how would you cover all the costs for building the project? Okay, so that's also for full load hours, a question on the realistic threshold. So following PV GIS that gives information on PV system performance and supported by you, full load hours on 1,000 hours is not feasible in field level. How do you calculate it? That? So again, it has been based on various estimation. There are various platforms on that on the PV system performance, either at EU level or at national level as well. We have seen historical data, and that was the basis for the full load hour appreciation. It was even considered conservative, to be honest, also in the previous call. So again, there might be projects that consider that threshold too tough, too high, and in that case, maybe that's not the call for you. But the historical data we have seen so far shows rather that this is feasible, and since the technology is really developing very fast, it's getting more and more efficient and competitive. Yeah, so here it's about wind park project in Estonia. Thanks for the question. So there are very few that will reach construction permit by March 2025. Is there any plan to provide flexibility on this criteria? So again, as it was another question linked to that, we're asking for the construction permit by 4th of March 2025 when you will apply at the latest. We just ask that approve that you have requested the construction permit by that moment. So you have officially requested to the competent authority. So we see that there is a process ongoing, and you may receive months later the construction permit, and that is perfectly fine. Okay, so the full load hours question recurring. So there, what are the consequences in case not reached? I explained on that earlier on the point. So we invite you to also to look at the call text, because there is also reported. So we look at the target, which is 1,000 on average over 15 years. So you may have a year that for specific reason, weather condition, typically, you reach the half of it, let's say, and then a following year, a very good year, 1,500 full load hours, for example. And what counts is that by the end of the 15 years, you have reached an average of 1,000 times 15. Okay. Now, in case you don't manage to reach this average level of full load hour, there is a tolerance, so that can go until 850 full load hour. In that case, if it is explained and justified, there's a tolerance, so there's no specific consequence if we agree with the situation. And below the 850, in that case, there will be a proportional reduction of the grant. So the count are done at the end. So in case you don't reach it, it will be rather a partial recovery of the proportional part that you haven't reached as a minimum. Okay, so this is an important question because it has been also, we have seen in the practice in the approved project, so that often there are SPV companies. So should the application for the grant to be submitted by the holding company or by the project specific company? So the project SPV. It's up really to you to decide the structure of the proposal. Maybe a couple of consideration here. If you already know that the project will be carried out by an SPV, and the SPV has been already settled, so it exists, it's not something that you want to create after the application, but the SPV already exists, we encourage to include the SPV in the project, eventually in a format of consortium where you have also the holding company as another beneficiary. In that case, you have the SPV that will carry out the project in the consortium, and you have also the holding company, so that shows the ties and also give reassurance on the solidity. Let's say that the SPV has been just created. You will not have historical data about the experience and the past project, so it's always good to see where it stands the holding company with regards to the SPV. So that would be my advice, but it's an advice. It's not a mandatory setup. But if the SPV has been already created and will be the owner and will be the one building the project, at least the SPV should be in the consortium. So if you have several projects, so one company with several projects, can the project be combined in one application? Do I have to make several? So if there are really distinct projects, you will have to make distinct several applications. So because each project is judged on its own, both in terms of the technical aspects and the offer. In that case, there will be recurrent or same element if it is the same company. Obviously, the part on the operational capacity or the financial capacity of the company will be the same for several projects, but the project will be specific, and it's important, of course, also for the scoring and for the ranking of the project. So we'll have to do several applications if these are several projects separated. So what if the project needs a master plan before being able to apply for construction permit? Is it sufficient to have an ongoing master plan process? So the master plan, you refer, I guess, to the municipal level or the competent authority. In that case, you need to show that you have submitted a construction permit. So if it is only a master plan ongoing in the municipality, and at that moment you cannot even apply for construction permit, I'm afraid it's going to be an ineligible project. So it's not enough because it's also too risky. It's impossible to anticipate basically whether you will really be able to commission your project by the set deadline. So in that case, it will not be enough. So that's about this ranking. How does it work? So in case you have two best offers that are 40 megawatts, so 18 total, is one of them pushed aside due to the 71.5 megawatt threshold wind, or is there a flexibility? So if you have two onshore projects in Finland, and those are the best in the price, and they go over the 71.5 megawatt threshold, that's a hard threshold. So in that case, we can only take one of the two, and then we'll look at the next one of the price, the following, so the following price, and see whether they can stay within the other requirement, the budget and the threshold. In this case, Estonian maximum threshold, and or the Finnish one. So if the master plan indicates solar PV area on a forested area, it won't be defined as forested as in eligibility criteria. No, we don't look at the master plan, and please, Sala from Finland, correct me if I'm wrong there. We look at the actual state of the land. So if a forested area is defined by the master plan as solar PV, but there is a forest there, it is considered as in the threshold of the deforestation. Whether that applies also to agricultural land, that should be the case. Sala, can you confirm on that, or should we come back to that in the Q&A?
I think we're anyway coming back to this in the Q&A that we have answer drafted. But yes, actual state of the area is the one that defines whether it is a forest or a agricultural land in production. So the master plan does not play a role in this.
Okay, thank you. Is the bid price of megawatt hour calculated with the estimated full load hours of the project or with the fixed full load hours? So the 1,000 or 2,800, depending on the technology, it's the latter. So it is calculated with the fixed full load hours number. So this is the reason is to be able to compare a project and not let every single project speculate on that, because that's, the scoring will be done at the selection stage. So everybody, let's say, plays in the same with the same rules. Then at project level, you might estimate more, and then that would be good, because that means that you have also a margin to reach that that level. But yeah, that's the price. It's calculated based on the fixed full load hour as per call. Okay, so we have another one. Okay, and there is the last one. We can put it on the screen, and we'll come back to that one in writing. So what if a full load hours have requirement is not reached due to the participation on ancillary electricity market, which requires down regulation of production? So this is a specific case, basically, where you have produced, if I understand correctly, but because of the ancillary electricity market, you at the end don't reach it technically within the reporting. So maybe on that one we take it for the Q&A, or we'll see if we answer before the end of this meeting. But otherwise, we'll come back to that in question and answer. So we take another 2, and then we do the break, and then we will anyhow invite you to keep on writing your questions, because we have another slot of Q&A at the end of the presentation later on. But let's take these last 2. So FinGrid does not consider grid connection permit application before the project has all relevant valid permit. So is construction permit process sufficient? So indeed, there might be a stricter requirement, and for sure there are in some cases by operators in the ground. But for the purpose of the call, we are okay with just the request for construction permit and the request for grid connection, even if you don't have fully fledged valid permit. That is for the eligibility of the call of your project within the context of the call. Obviously, this is an important point to ensure that the project is built and connected, because later on you need to get it. But for the eligibility stage of the project, so by March 2025, 4th of March, we don't request the construction permit delivered. And then maybe the last one. if calculation based on the new technology show a production higher than 1,000 hours per year, can a higher figure be set according to the estimated production? So for the calculation and the ranking, you have to include 1,000 hours, and that's fixed. So there's no competition on that. If you consider in your business project, in the business case of a project, that you can reach it, then you can apply. If you consider that you don't manage, then better you don't apply. Then in the real world, so to say, when the project is developed and concretely commissioned, you can report on the real, you have to report on the real production, so you can readjust the estimation, but during the monitoring. So, of course, if you are able to demonstrate that you are producing even more than what is minimum required, it's even better. You will have no problem then in that case with getting dispersed the lump sum as it is estimated in your project. Okay, I think we can maybe stop there for this first lot of question and answer. Plan is to come back at 11:30. 11:30 maybe, yeah. Keep 11:30 as the plan. So Brussels time. And then we have anyhow a last Q&A session. So we will have three PowerPoint presentations. So 3 slots of still on clarification on some of the elements that we already discussed in the Q&A. Please keep on posting your questions, and in case we haven't fully answered any of some of the questions, the many questions we had so far, please don't hesitate to specify further. And thanks for that. It's been very, very informative. I hope, and the questions are really important to really go into the details of the call text. So let's break it until 11:30. Then we go ahead with the last part of the info day. Many thanks. Welcome back. So it's 11:30 in Brussels, and we'll start again for this second part of the day. So with three presentations, first of all from Luisa Papamicroli, who will go through some tips how to draft good quality proposals. So please, Luisa, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Gianluca. Good morning on my side as well, and welcome back to this second part. I will walk you through some key elements of a successful proposal. So we start from understanding what the application form entails in order to ensure the quality of your final submission. So I will highlight some common mistakes to avoid and give you some concrete steps to take to put together a complete and strong proposal. So let's get started. Well, the proposal development starts from the application form and the annexes. So upon clicking on the call and on the portal, Gloria will show you how you will find that information. There you will get a series of essential documents that are available for you to download. So these documents include the call text, the application form, the Gantt chart, the lump sum calculator, and the co-financing declaration. So part A is pretty straightforward. It's the primary component, and it contains administrative information about the applicant, key project dates, and basic information about your project. And this form can be filled in directly online. Then we get the application form part B. And this is where you will describe the technical aspects of the project. So you will have to download the document as a Word document. You can work on it offline and then re-upload it after you complete it. So this way, you are more flexible to prepare the details of your project offline. And then we have mandatory annexes and supporting documents. So you will also need to download the templates and fill them out offline and then upload them. And in the case where some annexes do not have predefined templates, you can upload your own documents. Here you have to keep in mind that on the system, you upload them on specific designated slots, and each slot can hold up to one document. So the solution there is either to merge documents into one PDF or create a zip folder. So there is a limit in size, as far as I know, but it should be sufficient for standard submission of documents. So to summarize, we have Part A, the administrative details filled online, Part B, technical description completed offline and then uploaded, and mandatory annexes, supporting documents, uploaded in designated slots. This is very important. You don't want to miss the right slot because it can have repercussions for the completeness of the application. So going into terminology, let's see some key terms that will help you shape the proposal. We have the work package, which is the major section of your project. This acts as a cornerstone for what you are planning to achieve. Then you have tasks, which are smaller, actionable steps that fall under every work package. You have milestones that are important checkpoints where you stop, you measure your progress, what you have achieved, and you see whether you are on track. And you have deliverables, which are the concrete results of your work, and they do not need necessarily to be linked to a milestone. So in our case, for example, a deliverable could be the proof of energy delivery, a certificate issued by the DSO or the TSO. These elements are already predefined and structured for you inside the application form. So with everything set up, what is left for you is to fill the details correctly and bring your project to life and submit it on time. So in the case you encounter any challenges, you do not have to worry. There is IT support just a click away. We have a designated email address for you to send your questions. And there is also an interactive guide that you can consult on the portal. And for any content related questions you can, that are not project specific, you can always write to us through the functional mailbox. Then, looking into the quality of your proposal. Well, this is critical to your proposal success. So we would need to have enough information from you. So evaluators need to be able to assess your proposal from a technical, a financial, and operational perspective. So you have to give them the confidence that the project is mature and ready to start and operate within 2 years' time. So how do you do that? You need to detail the technology. Then you need to give us details about the project location. Use that GIS element on the portal as well. You need to give us any relevant technical aspects. Then you have to explain the business model. You have to include who the expected market off-taker will be. And you have to give us faith in your team's ability to deliver the project. You have to demonstrate your capacity. You have to showcase your team's technical expertise and also financial capacity. Then, as I mentioned, there is a predefined structure of work packages. Follow it, respect it, and put information where it should be filled in. And a very important thing is to be sure to ensure that all information is consistent across all applications sections, because for example, inconsistencies with regards to figures could confuse evaluators. And this is not what you want to put your best foot forward. So to help you get a clearer picture of what this predefined work package structure is, let us go through an example. So we have work package 1, which details the construction phase. And here you will need to provide proof that the project is operational or that the project is feeding into the grid. Then you have WP2, which describes the first operating phase. And here you need to show that you have generated at least 1,000 or 2,800 full load hours per year up until the second year after operation begins. Then in WP3, the second operation phase work package, you need to provide proof of full load hours for up to 4 years after the project's launch. And finally, WP4, the third operating phase, you still need to continue to demonstrate full load hours from year 5 through year 15 after the project is up and running. So by using this structure, you have a well-organized proposal with defined work packages, follows a logical flow, and it's easy for everyone to navigate. So going into writing the proposal, the content, some technical aspects. So this is what defines the proposal, and clarity is very crucial here. So how to make your case strong. You have to describe the technology first. So which technology are you using? Gianluca mentioned for PV technology, are you opting for bifacial solar panels? Are you opting for monocrystalline? If you're going for wind turbines, can you please let us know the height of your wind turbines? And please be as precise as possible. Then we would need some details on the project side. So can you give us the exact location where everything will be installed? Do you own the location, the site? Have you secured all the permits that are necessary? And then you have to clarify your assumptions. You have to highlight critical figures like expected annual full load hours, P50, or the projected wind yield. So it is very important for you to be very detailed and specific. The more detailed and the more specific you are, the more compelling your proposal will be. Then business model. It was mentioned by Gianluca earlier. So you have to define it and define it well to show us how you intend to get to the project success. So you have to focus on capital costs and outline the initial investment that is required and major expenditures or projected operation and maintenance costs. And we need to see this data to have trust that you have thoroughly analyzed the financial demands of the project. Then we need to see the revenue streams and have confidence that the project is viable and profitable in the long run. And how do we do that? You need to explain how the project will generate income. And will you have some power purchase agreements in place? Is it going to be through product sales? Then give us information about the investment and how it is justified, how it is secure. So please highlight key financial metrics like the return on investment and the internal rate of return. And then with respect to the contractual arrangements, you have to show us whether there is a long-term buyer for the project's output, or if you're planning to compete in the open market. And describe this assurance through the PPA or the market participation for revenues. Also, in terms of engineering, procurement, and construction contract, it was mentioned earlier through one of the questions, you have to explain how the project will be built within budget and schedule. So this includes describing the parties that are responsible for building the project and what the timelines are and what are the financial safeguards. As mentioned, the contract does not need to be ready by the time of submission, but we will need to get enough assurance that the project will be commissioned within 2 years for the PV installations in Finland and 3 years for the onshore wind projects in Estonia. And a very important part also mentioned earlier, what happens after the project is built. So who will retain ownership? Will it be the original developers? Are you planning to transfer it to another party? So you need to highlight what your strategy for long-term management is, or if you're planning to sell. And going into operational aspects. So we have to shine a spotlight on the team that is behind the project. So here you're welcome to highlight your company's technical expertise. If you had any relevant experience with similar projects in the past, and especially if you have a consortium set up, you need to tell us who's responsible for what, and clarify who is handling every task and whether you would need external expertise and whether you foresee it. So by defining these roles and responsibilities upfront, that will help you keep everything on track and also ensure a smoother and more efficient project execution. So, well, before you hit submit, we have a deadline on the 4th of March 2025 at 5 o'clock in the afternoon Brussels time. Are your annexes ready? Make sure all required documents are attached in the right slot. Also, submit early. You don't want to risk last-minute technical glitches. So we welcome you once you have a solid version of your application in place to upload it, because there is a possibility to reopen and enhance your work as many times as you want before the deadline. So you have the freedom to refine your ideas and not have the pressure of a single button perfect submission. So use that to your advantage. You don't want to miss the deadline because you leave it until the very last moment. And of course, proofread your proposal, please. Double check or triple check. You have to be sure that the proposal is clear, coherent, and there are no errors in terms of figures, of logical context. Please include information that is local and that may seem obvious to you, but is not known, cannot be known to evaluators. And make it, in a way, easy to navigate to give evaluators the confidence in your proposal's quality. Don't let discrepancies undermine that. So the timeline here, again, a snapshot. 30th of July was when the call for project proposals officially opened. 4th of March, our deadline. Make sure the proposal is there, is submitted. Evaluation will begin right after. May 2025, this is when evaluations results will be announced. And then we have saved this June to December 25 period as time to work on grant agreement preparation and get the signatures for the contracts. So mark these dates in your calendar and plan ahead. Keep in mind that schedule to stay on track. Here you have, you can have a look at more information. You have links to CINEA website and QR codes as well to the funding and tenders portal. So here you can have valuable insights, detailed guidance to support you. You will have also access to the FAQs. And yes, and that covers the essentials. I hope I gave you a clear roadmap to submit a successful proposal and to start with confidence this path. Now I have to give the floor to my colleague Gloria to guide you through the funding and tenders portal.
Thank you, Luisa. Good morning. Thank you, Luisa. Good morning, everybody. I will now show you how to submit a proposal in the EU funding and tenders portal. That's the portal where one can find all the funding opportunities of the European Commission. Very important, before you even get into the portal, you have to make sure that each person working on the proposal in the applicant organization has a valid U-Login account. Here you have the link to create an account if you do not have one. Also very important, every organization involved in a proposal should have a PIC. The participant identification code is a unique code that entities should have in order to apply for EU funding. And here you have again the link to create a PIC if you do not have one. If on the other hand you already have a PIC, you should make sure that it is up to date, that all the information in there, including the LAIR. The LAIR is the contact person. So all the information should be up to date so that you do not have any problems, not only to submit your proposal, but also later on for the validation of the PIC, because this is also a very important step in order to if you are selected, in order to sign a grant agreement with us, you need to have a validated PIC. So that's really crucial that you check all these points before even starting your application. So how to find a proposal, a call for proposals in the EU funding and tenders portal? You have various ways. First of all, you have the direct link to the call page, but if you want to go directly in the funding and tender portal, on the landing page you have funding, and then there you can either write directly the call for proposals, so you can write Renew FM, and then you will get to the topic page, or you can also go via EU programs, and there you will find not only a way to get into the call for proposals, but you will also find some useful information on the program and the link also to the CINEA web page. Excuse me. So once you get on the topic page, so basically for Renew FM there is only one topic, so call page and topic page are the same. In the topic page, you will find all relevant information about the call for proposals. You will find the available budget, the deadline already mentioned by Luisa and by the other colleagues, and you will also find the relevant documents. Under conditions and documents, you will find the call text, which is really the most important document, and you should read carefully. And you will also find the templates just for information. They're not to be used directly from here. And you will find also some relevant legislation for the Renew FM program. Then you can also, in case we have updates, we will publish them also under call updates. So it's important that you keep an eye on this page for updates or important information. And then the most important part, it's the start submission button. So via this button, you will get to the submission service. You will have 3 steps. So first you get to the service, then you have to confirm your choice, so to confirm that you want to apply for this topic. Okay, here it's easy, there is only one topic. And then you will have to confirm again your choice, and finally you will enter into the submission service, where you will be able to start creating your proposal. And in this submission service, you will also be able to download the templates to be used for your application. So as I said before, you can see already the templates on the topic page, but you should use the ones available here in the submission service. So here, first of all, you will have to state the role on the proposal. For that purpose, you will have to have your PIC at hand, and if you do not have it, you can still search by name of the organization. But if you realize that you don't have a PIC, then you have to go to the participant register to create one. Here you also have to fill in the acronym and the short summary of the proposal. Please use the convention naming that is indicated in the call for proposal. So you should write 2025, then the country, either Estonia or Finland, multi-tech investment, and then the acronym of your proposal. In the coming page, you will be able to add partners if needed. For the purpose of this call, we have two types of partners, the beneficiaries, which are the main partners in the proposal. There can be one beneficiary or several beneficiaries. In case you decide to go for more than one beneficiary, you should designate a coordinator, and then the other beneficiaries will have to sign accession forms. You can also have affiliated entities that have the same rights and obligations as the beneficiaries, but they need to demonstrate a capital or legal link to the main beneficiary in order to be eligible. And then they will have also to sign the grant agreement, to abide to the obligations of the grant agreement. So as already mentioned by Luisa, there are two main parts to the application form. Part A, which is the administrative form and is to be filled in online. You should click on Edit Form to be able to access the Part A. And then Part B, which is the technical part, so the content of your application and all the annexes that are to be downloaded, as I said before, from Part B templates, and then they have to be filled in offline and uploaded again as a PDF in the case of Part B, or also there are other types of files that you can upload, and all the information is indicated in the portal, and I will show you later as well. So the Part A, as I said, it's the administrative part to be filled in directly online. There you have to include some general information about your about the applicants, and once you indicate the PIC, some of the information will be already automatically filled in for you. Then you have to insert the acronym and the title of the proposal. Again, please make sure that you use the naming convention indicated in the call. You will have to fill in the duration and to also write an abstract of your proposal. Then there will be also some declaration to tick, the budget, and under other questions you will have to select the country, so either Estonia or Finland. Then you also have the possibility to check that everything is okay, so there is a validation button that will also warn you if there are any issues with the proposal, if something is missing or incorrect. Then the technical descriptions on Part B is really the content of your action. Luisa has already explained to you how you should fill it in correctly. So as I said, it is to be filled in offline and then uploaded as a PDF together with the other annexes. And it's very important that you use the mandatory template that is available under Download Part B templates. The same goes also for some of the documents to be filled in, some of the annexes. You have already templates, mandatory templates for them, for instance, for the calculator and for the Gantt chart, and also for the co-financing declarations. So as I said before, if you click on the little I icon, you will be able to see which file type of file document you have to use, and also what is the maximum size for each document. So once you are ready, once you are confident that your annexes are complete, you can upload them via this page. Another important part of your application is the GIS data. So you can access via Edit GIS Data this page, where you can either draw your proposal or upload a file. We encourage you to draw the proposal directly here, because there could be compatibility issues with the files. So to be on the safe side, you can draw directly here. It's very simple. You have to draw a polygon and to choose the type of technology, and to be as try to be as precise as possible when you draw the area of your project. So in the topic, you have already had the opportunity to ask some questions, but we also have already published some topically related questions and answers on the call page. And we also have some frequently asked questions, program related, that are available. So here you have the links to that. And if you do not find your question and the related answer in the Q&As or in the frequently asked questions, you can still write to us via our functional mailbox. If you have technical questions, there is also a compilation of frequently asked questions of a general and technical nature on the funding and tender portal. And again, also there, if you do not find the answer to your question, you can contact directly our help desk via the help desk and support link that is also provided. And very useful, you also have an online manual which sums up and gives you also some more details on what I've showed you on how to submit your proposal. So do not hesitate if you have any help to use one of these, if you need help to use one of these options. That's all from me. Thank you. And now I give the floor again to Gianluca.
Thank you, Luisa and Gloria. So now we'll look at the last set of presentation. Then we have another final Q&A sessions. We have seen already a few questions in Slido, and don't hesitate to use this opportunity until the end of the day. So we'll go through the grant agreement preparation, reporting, and provision and grant payment very briefly without going into the every single details, but at least you have already at application phase a general idea of how does it look like in case your project is selected. So first of all, we talk about grant agreement preparation because there will be indeed a contract between the granting authority, which will be CINEA, and the applicant that will become then beneficiary. So in this phase, there might be some fine-tuning of technical or financial aspect of the project, or we might need extra information regarding specific elements that are highlighted in the evaluation of the project. So those elements, together with other that are to be tackled during the grant agreement preparation, will be dealt with in that context. So you will have a counterpart in CINEA in our team that will get in touch and will prepare together with you the various documents. We will do a kickoff meeting, a meeting together with all the others projects that will be selected, where we will explain really in details the rules, the next steps, what has to be done by whom, and this is at the general level. Also, what happens if there is a project change. I touched upon in the previous session regarding amendments, for example. There can be other changes that may not impact as an amendment does. So all this will be dealt during the kickoff meeting. And then in the same context, there will be also bilateral meetings with each and every project. So during these bilateral meetings, we will tackle project-specific aspects, so not those that are general on rules. One important aspect there, if you want to see more the details of the grant agreement, you have in the reference document of the call a direct link to download the model grant agreement, which is a fixed model, so it's not something that changes articles by article. It's a full package that you cannot change at the grant agreement preparation phase. So if you want to have a look at the rules, and that we encourage you to download, and there, of course, if you have questions, you have also a version of the model grant agreement which is called annotated grant agreement, which has lots of explanation on every single articles. That is also online in the reference document of the e-grants, so of the portal. So to recap, because we touched upon a bit, or quite a lot actually, on the financing aspect. So how does it work? There are reporting requirements. So basically there are 3 reporting periods during which you will ask for a reimbursement. First of all, after the commissioning, so there you will get, if it demonstrates the project has been commissioned within the parameters that are agreed in the grant agreement, 60% of the maximum grant amount. So this is done normally at after 2 years or 3 years, or even earlier, independent of the project. The reporting period 2 and reporting period 3 are about payment against delivery of energy. And there you get another 20% at reporting period 2 and 20% at reporting period 3. So after the third reporting period, so normally around the 6th or 7th year, depending on the commissioning date of your project, you will have your full amount paid as investment support. And then later, yearly, you simply have to show the proof of energy delivery during subsequent reporting, but there are lighter where you simply upload a relevant document from the DSO normally that shows that there is a certificate proving the energy emission in the grid. So that visualizes a bit more the path to grant, so to say, to grant disbursement. So after the first 3 reporting, you will see that you have 7-8 years, depending on the specific case, of reporting of energy generation. So it's just a proof of energy generation, whereas before it is actual reporting against cost, but again we are in a lump sum type of cost, so you don't have to upload proof of real cost, of incurred cost. It's simply the only proof we ask actually is in the first reporting is the commissioning of the plant. So in that case, it is proof of the plant that is working. And in the year 2 and in year n+2, so reporting period 2 and year n+4 reporting period 3, it is about the energy generation. And that's in a nutshell what happens if you are selected, but of course we will come back to that at a later stage. But obviously, if you have a specific question, we can cover also this element during the question and answer session. We are a bit no, I think we are actually sharp on time. Question and answer that is still available in the Slido at the hashtag UC. And we have, I think, already 3 questions there, a few or even more. Okay. First question on the clarification of followed hours requirement, whether they are calculated with the megawatt alternative current capacity of the plant in the operation. There is an FAQ also on that aspect in the call topic, so a specific FAQ for that. So basically, in the application phase, when we are looking to see what is the size of the project, we need to look at the megawatt DC, so direct current. So basically, to show that you have built the project, it is enough to you refer to the DC, so what happens before the connection. But during the implementation, the project should demonstrate the minimum full load hours the foreseen production has been delivered. And this is normally done via proof provided by competent authorities, so normally it is a DSO. And for that reason, the full load hours should be calculated using as a basis for the reporting requirement, the megawatt AEC, so alternative current, because this is normally what the DSO provides. There might be specific cases of grid project, but that's the default rule. You can see the next one. So yeah, this is connected. So obviously there is a difference between AC and DC, normally different in efficiency. So there's efficiency loss between megawatt produced in direct current and then produced in alternative current. When it comes to the reporting, again, we look at the DSO or the competent authority to which you have delivered your electricity, so it's normally alternative current. Yeah, the presentation will be shared, so that's an easy one. We will share, I think, also a link to satisfaction survey, so that would be useful in the page, in the event page, or in any case, the PowerPoint together will be shared with the video recording in a later moment. So it may take 1 or few days or maybe 3, but in the event page we will have the PowerPoint and the recording of this session. Yes, so the definition of agricultural land in use, we will add it in the Q&A of the portal. So just waiting for this info day, because indeed we were anticipating to have some more questions. So to be as complete as possible, we'll have the published Q&A in the coming days. So for the moment, we have no more questions. It's 12:11 in Brussels. We can stay a few minutes more to see if there are some more questions from the audience. So don't hesitate to grab the opportunity, and otherwise we already shared also all our links, mailbox. So CINEA-RenewFM or -RenewFM at ec.europa.eu. That is the main channel. But again, hopefully all, but most of the questions at least are answered either in the call text or in the Q&A. But of course, if you don't find it there, you're very welcome to get in touch with us. So we'll stay a little bit, a few minutes more, and then eventually, if there are no more questions, we will close the meeting in a few minutes. Okay, we have one extra question. Peat production area where the production is ending or ended are not considered to be in forest or agricultural use. For the forest definition, so it's pretty strict there. So unless it enters into the parameters of the forest definition, so you have a land with tree crown cover of more than 10% of an area of more 1.5 hectares, and trees should be able to reach 5 meters of maturity inside. So this is really the boundary. So normally peat production area should not enter into this definition. And also speaking under the control of our colleagues in Finland, if Sally is still there, but it doesn't look like they enter into the agricultural use either as definition. We can go back to that in writing.
Yes, we can go back to that, but yeah, peat production area should be fine.
Okay, so we will anyhow confirm it in the Q&A that we will publish in the coming days. Thank you. And I think I didn't see any more questions, so yeah, we might close at this stage. First, by thanking our colleagues from Finland and Estonia. So Sala and Kalis, thank you for joining today. And we will keep on working together during the call if there are specific elements for member states. And to all participants, thank you for taking actively part to this Info Day with so many interesting and good questions that had clarifying really the various cases that you may be confronted with. We hope to see you numerous on the 5th of March when we will see the submitted application. In the meantime, you have all our contacts, so if you have a specific question that you cannot see it answered via the various means of Q&A, call text, and the guidance video recording of the Info Day, etc. So you simply get in touch with us. And we wish you good luck and looking forward for a nice competition in this call. Many thanks to everyone speaking today, and see you next time. Good luck with the application. Have a nice day.